Let's make a curved back for the chassis of the TV. We'll tumble around to the back and go into face component mode. Right click and choose face. Click on that back face. And we want to extrude it a bunch of times. We're going to do this kind of precisely using the channel box. Edit mesh, face extrude. And down here we want to adjust our local translate Z to a value of 0.5. That'll extrude it out just a little bit. Let's look at this in the ortho views. Tap the space bar. I just want to get in close on the corners in each view. And also go into wireframe display in all the ortho views. Hover the mouse over each one and press the 4 key, switching over to wireframe. Alright, so that's my first extrude with a local translate Z of 0.5. And down near the bottom I can set the offset and set that to, let's say, a value of 1. See what that does. And you can see we're getting a 45-degree angle there. We can check this in all the views. We can keep adding extrudes. We want to make a curved surface here, or give an approximation of curvature anyway. With that polygon still selected, we can press the G key, get another extrude. Local translate Z once again 0.5. Press enter. And we can see in the side view we have another segment. Scroll down a bit, set that offset. Let's give that a value of, let's say, 2. Maybe a little less. Let's try 1.5. Just continue that process a couple of times. Press the G key. That adds another extrude node. Change the local translate Z to 0.5 and play around with the offset. We can do it interactively as well. Left click it and then middle mouse drag. And we can see the curvature we're creating here. Maybe I'll give that a value of 3 even. And one more. With that polygon still selected, press G. Local translate Z of 0.5. And an offset value. We'll make it exactly 4. So if we tumble around here, we can see that we've created this curved frame for the TV. And we can control the shape of that by going back into these extrude levels and changing up the values for offset or perhaps local translate. But I think that's pretty good at this point. I'll right click, go back out to object mode, unselect, tap the space bar, and kind of admire what I've done. Can turn off wireframe unshaded for a second. You can see we have some shading issues here. We'll come back to this at the end. I would generally get the model's topology sorted out and get all of its proportions established. And then at the very end, go back and worry about things like whether an edge is hard or soft or whether UV coordinates have been applied. The next thing I want to do is actually punch holes. And I can do that with a Boolean. Booleans are named after George Boole, who invented symbolic logic. If you remember Venn diagrams from math class, we're basically doing that with 3D objects. We're using an object to carve another object. And in order to do this, we should delete the construction history. Even though I don't have very much in here at this point, we should always delete history immediately before and immediately after doing a Boolean. Otherwise, you might have unexpected results. Edit delete by type history. Now I need an object to cut with, and that'll be a cube. Create, polygon primitives, cube. Click and drag in the perspective view. Click and drag to set the height. And we're just going to sort of feel our way around through this one. Go into the inputs, set the width to maybe, let's say 8 inches, and the height to be 6 inches. We need to view this in the orthographic views. Maybe turn wireframe unshaded back on as well so we can get a sense. Tap the space bar. We just want to make sure that it's projecting through the right amount. Figure that out. We can adjust this later if we want, as long as it's generally in the right place, then we can go ahead and issue the Boolean command. Select the select tool. We want to select the thing that we want to keep first. And that's the TV. We want to keep that, and we want to cut away part of it. So with the TV selected, hold down Shift and select the box. And go to Mesh, Booleans, difference. And it should cut a hole. We can tap the space bar, tumble around. It looks okay. We see that there is some issue here with the structure. And the result that you get may be different from what I have here. So don't be alarmed if you see a different topology or different connections between edges. That's normal. We do need to clean this up. But before we do, I want to show you that you can move the Boolean operands around and play around with their attributes. You'll see here, inputs, Boolean operation, polyc boolop. If I click on that, you'll see below that there's something that says polycube1. Click on that too, and I've actually drilled all the way down to the bottom of my construction history to this polycube's creation parameters. So I can change the width here to, let's say, 10 inches. And I can even move it around. The way that I do that is by selecting its node. I can't really select nodes from the channel box, but I can do it from a special window called the hypergraph. And that shows us the scene graph, or the connections between all the nodes in the scene. Window, hypergraph connections. With that object selected, you can see some of these nodes here are grayed out. I can use the Alt and right mouse to zoom in, and Alt and middle mouse to pan around. And you'll see here some of these nodes are grayed out. These are the ones that are hidden. P-cube shape 1, that happens to be the TV. P-cube shape 2 is actually this polycube, the one that we have here in the channel box. So if I want to move it, rather than change its parameters, I can select this node and then grab the move tool. I can actually push it around and change its position. Pretty amazing. You'll notice that the edges here are changing as I move that around. That's because Maya is retriangulating the polygons on the fly. All right, cool. So that's a good demo of how construction history works, especially in conjunction with Booleans. Before I go any further with editing, though, I should delete history again. So your workflow is always, before you do a Boolean, delete history. After you do a Boolean, delete history again. To clean this up, we can use the multi-cut tool. We want to draw edges here so that we don't have a weirdly shaped polygon. This is technically a legal polygon, but it's not really good form. It's not best practice. Ideally, polygons should either be quadrilaterals or triangles. Additionally, this one is concave. It's got kind of a depression in it, and that can be problematic too. So just so we can be completely by the book, we're going to cut this up into a better shape. And we can do that with multi-cut. So that's in the Mesh Tools menu, multi-cut tool. And you don't need to worry about this toolbox over here because the multi-cut tool is kind of everything all in one. It's its own world. You can see that it snaps onto things automatically. So it behaves very differently than a lot of the tools in Maya, but you'll get used to it. What you want to do is just draw a line from one vertex to another. And it's kind of reading your mind as you get close to things. It's highlighting things. You want to select that vertex. Click it. And you don't hold the mouse down. You just go over to the other vertex and click it. And you get an orange line. That's a preview. If that's what you want, then press Enter. And it's actually executed. And then we can do the next one. So move over to that vertex. Click on another one. Press Enter. Same thing here. Be careful that you're not clicking on things behind. So, you know, there's another whole surface back here. And we don't have backface culling enabled right now, which means that it's able to snap to things on the other side. Just be careful about that. And press Enter. Okay, so that's pretty good. We can also delete this one edge. It's not really hurting anything, but just for cosmetic purposes, we can select it and press Delete. Notice that when you enter multi-cut, it also enters multi-component mode, which is from the modeling toolkit, but is also found in the right-click marking menu. If you right-click, you will see multi, and that's what we're in right now. So as I move my mouse around, I'm selecting either edges, faces, or vertices, depending upon what's closest. Okay, I'm going to right-click and go back out to object mode once again. deselect the object, and admire my work. Pretty good. I can do another one. So once I've got that one done, I'll do another Boolean to cut another hole. Edit delete by type history. Create another cube to cut another hole. Create polygon primitives, cube. Once again, draw that out on the perspective grid. Position it. Go into its inputs. Say I'll give it a height of maybe 10 inches. And a depth of maybe 1.5 inches. Position that. Definitely check it in the ortho views, especially the top view. Where exactly are we cutting here? That looks pretty good. All right. Once I've got that there, I'll select the main object, shift select that box, and once again do mesh, booleans, difference. After the boolean, we could still clean this up a little bit. We want to divide up these weirdly shaped polygons. And once again, go to Mesh Tools, Multicut Tool, and then carefully go around and create some new edges. Press Enter. I'll make one here too. Just trying to clean this up a little bit. Press Enter. We don't want to have polygons that sort of curve around corners. Okay, so I've done all my manual cleanup. Go back to my selection tool, right-click and go back to object mode. Select it, and now we can delete its history once again. Edit, delete by type, history. That's a great place for us to increment and save as well.